Housing charity Threshold has raised concerns about banks who are bypassing landlords and collecting rent from tenants directly. The charity was responding to a report that the country's largest banks intend appointing rent receivers to landlords who fail to pay their mortgages. Threshold says legislation may be necessary to ensure that receivers carry out the same duties as landlords.
Buy-to-let investors are among the most distressed property owners in the country. Over the past 18 months, several of the smaller banks have attempted to bypass these landlords for rental income and instead collect it directly from tenants. AIB and EBS would not comment on a report today that they stand ready to pursue a similar strategy, but sources confirmed that this will be the case.
The banks absolutely believe that this is going to get results, but what the banks need to bear in mind is that there's so many costs. There is quite an amount of vacancy as well in the market, and what we find from our clients is that they're trying to gather as much as they can to pay the banks. They would love to be able to pay back these debts, but the reality is that there's so many expenses like the MPPR charge, the new household charge. All these expenses are eating into landlords' resources.
The prospect of the country's largest banks now hiring collection agents to gather rent directly will be of concern to many tenants.
The first thing for tenants is obviously verifying that a receiver has been appointed by the bank before they would switch their rent from the landlord to the receiver. I think the second thing is they need to verify the status of the deposit. Obviously the deposit is safeguarded. And I think the third thing is that the receiver would act in all other ways like the landlord, in other words carry out repairs.
According to sources in the mortgage industry where this tactic has been deployed, it has produced some results for the banks already. But were it to become much more widespread, it would undoubtedly cause problems for landlords and tenants alike. Paul Colgan, RTE News.